You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show. But now let's turn to another of our popular Splash segments, Sidewalk Talk, where reporter George Moore discusses topics at random with residents here in Greater West Bloomfield.
Hi, George Moore for Civic Center TV and The Splash. We're out on the streets of West Bloomfield, the Greater West Bloomfield area, again, asking the questions nobody else will ask, and you give us the answers. Join us.
They're now boarding rows 30 to 40.
So what was the worst travel experience that you've ever had on an airplane? Give us some details.
After our first flight, we had to go through customs and then leave the airport, and then come back in and go through security again, and then try and get on our plane on time, which our first flight was late, so we didn't think we were going to get home that day, but we made it.
They switched our flight. We had an early flight, and they changed it to a later flight, and the long layover, and, so it was just not, the trip was great, but both flights coming and going were disasters.
Worst travel experience would be on Spirit Airlines because, not a knock on Spirit, but they charge you for everything. They charge you for water. You can't get water on the plane. Water, snacks, every single thing. I'm surprised they don't charge you for air.
The worst travel experience I've ever had by plane, really just has to do with a delay. We were delayed for hours and hours and hours, which caused us to miss our next flight. And I was exhausted. We were actually coming from the Far East, and we ended up having like a 12-hour layover.
They could not get the air conditioning to turn on in the plane, and we had just left Vegas. And it was so hot in the plane. We were all very warm. That was the worst.
They ended up putting us in the very last row of the plane. The seat would not recline, and it was right next to the bathroom, and it was a horrible odor, and I was in the middle seat. It was awful. It was like a 4.5-hour trip. That was pretty bad.
Can you believe some of the questions we ask? Neither can I, but you answered them as always. So we got some good stuff. So until you see us next time for Civic Center TV and The Splash, I'm George Moore. Sidewalk Talk.
Those were truly some of the worst experiences I've ever heard, which makes me glad I don't fly very often. But as always, we're glad to hear from you guys within the community, and to watch more of our fun conversations within Greater West Bloomfield, you can visit civiccentertv.com/sidewalk talk. Thanks for watching a segment of The Splash. To catch the entire show or other segments, watch us on Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T Channel 99, or look us up online at thesplash.tv and listen to us on WBLD 89.3, the all-new Lakes FM.